Okay. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Kelly Brunsheen, and I'm a Senior Coordinator here with the Participant Effect. Welcome to the Participant Effect's quarterly webinar series. This quarter, we're going to be talking about retirement planning essentials and your employer-sponsored retirement plan. If you have questions throughout the presentation, please utilize the Q&A tool in the toolbar located at the bottom of your screen. We'll get to everyone's questions as soon as we can, and we'll have a Q&A session at the end of the presentation as well to go over those questions. You may also email us at wellness@theparticipanteffect.com, and we'll follow up with you directly. Our presenter today is Jeff Ackler. I'm very excited for you to hear from him today. Jeff has over 27 years of experience as a wealth manager advisor and also has extensive experience managing clients' assets. Jeff's primary focus is to provide highly customized and comprehensive financial planning services to his clients. Throughout today's presentation, we're going to be asking for your participation and answering some polling questions. When it's time, a question and answer box will populate, and after everyone has answered, we'll share only the percentage results with everybody so you can see how your peers have answered. This is all confidential, so your specific answer won't be shared with everyone. With that being said, let's go ahead and kick off our first polling question. Jeff, if you want to switch the slide for me. So our first question here is going to be, how confident are you that you'll meet your retirement goals? And I'll go ahead and launch that. So everyone should have the option to select their answer on the screen. I'm going to go ahead and leave it up there for a couple seconds. So how confident are you that you'll meet your retirement goals? Looks like we still have some people answering. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and end the polling. And here are the results. So it looks like about 20% of you say you're very confident that you're going to meet your goals. 57% of you say that you're sort of confident, probably good thing we're all here today. 11% say you're not at all confident about your retirement goals and meeting them. And then 13% of you have no clue, which is okay because that's why we're here. So we're here to provide you with the tools today and resources to become very confident. So it's my pleasure to introduce you to Jeff Ackler to talk to us today about retirement planning essentials and your employer-sponsored retirement plan. Take it away, Jeff. Thank you.
So first of all, what is the participant effect? So Worksite Financial Solutions is a guidance-based beginning-to-end retirement solution designed to help you create confidence in your financial life. It includes workplace education that's tailored to your unique needs and profile. It's supported by a qualified financial advisor who's committed to providing you with unified, coordinated advice. Whether you're joining the plan for the first time or accumulating assets or seeking help with a career transition, Worksite Financial Solutions pulls all aspects of your finances into a single manageable focus that saves time. I want everybody to close their eyes for a minute. Try to picture yourself on the first day of your retirement. Your last day of work is behind you. There's no alarm clock jolting you out of sleep. You awaken on your own and you have the rest of your life ahead of you. Are you happy about your prospects? Are you relaxed? Are you energized? Are you excited? Now, open your eyes. Your retirement can be whatever you want it to be. In the past decades, retirement was a time of rest and relaxation. Now, that might be what you want, but it might not be. Today, retirees are traveling and going back to school, helping to care for their grandchildren and volunteering, starting new businesses, maybe playing sports or exploring hobbies. So very simply put, today's retirees are living long and active lives. So what do you see yourself doing? Some people even continue to work, not necessarily because they have to, but because they want to. However, even these people should plan for the possibility that they may not be able to work at some point. Today, we're going to help you wake up on the first day of retirement with a confidence of knowing you have planned well. So let's not spend any more time daydreaming. Let's get started. First, consider how long retirement might last. With advances in medical care and more attention being paid to healthy lifestyles, today's retirees are living longer than ever before. You could live to be 75, 85, 95, maybe even 105. Well, that's great news. The other side of the coin is that you'll need enough money to provide income for a retirement that could last 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, or even 25 years, maybe longer. So that brings us to our next poll question. Have you tried calculating how much you will need for retirement? So everybody just answer the poll question. And then Kelly will share the results with me. So we just about have our results. Okay, very, very split down the middle. The results are that about 48% of you said yes, and 52% said no. So we're really half and half. So that's good news that half the people really have taken the time to work these things out, and other people are interested in doing so by attending today's meeting and really focusing on their financial future. The big question is, do you have the number right? And that's something that you would be able to determine a little bit from working together today, but definitely working with your financial advisor is going to help you determine if that's truly the case. You can go ahead. Yes, thank you, Kelly. So how much will you need for retirement? A general rule of thumb says that you should plan for between 70 and 100% of your final working income each year during retirement to live comfortably. Of course, the exact percentage, it's going to depend on a number of factors, including your desired lifestyle and your health. But those percentages provide a pretty good estimate. Based on my long experience, I typically find it to be about 90%. So a lot of people think they're going to spend a lot less in retirement. Typically, it's about 90%. So you might want to plan to spend just about as much during retirement as you did prior to retirement. For example, just to give some numbers, if you're retired, we'll use the 70% number to start with. If you retire making $75,000 a year and decide that you can live on 70% of that amount during retirement, that means you would need about $52,500 in your first year of retirement. Part of that $52,500 could come from Social Security or a traditional pension plan or rental income from properties you may own, or maybe from other assets. But part of it, maybe a large part of it, will likely come from how much you save through your employer's retirement savings plan if you take advantage of this opportunity. So that $52,500 won't be enough every year of your retirement. Since the overall cost of everyday living typically rises each year, your annual retirement income will need to increase each year as well. So the table gives you an idea of how much the costs of a few common items could rise over 20 years. At just a 3% inflation rate, which is the approximate average over the long term, those goods would nearly double in price. Now, I don't know about you. I am not paying $81 for a haircut, but some people already do. But it does show that it's interesting. That gallon of milk costs $7. We're not ready for that yet. Now let's take a minute to look at this table and understand what it's illustrating. Before we review the numbers more closely, consider that these figures assume that you'll start with no savings and that you'll have no other sources of income in retirement, not even Social Security. Basically, it's a worst-case scenario. So the table is simply meant to give you a general idea of how much it actually takes to provide 70% of your final working salary for a retirement that will last 25 years. For example, someone who currently makes $40,000 a year and is planning to retire in about 10 years may need to accumulate more than $800,000 to provide the equivalent of 70% of his or her final working income in 25 years. On the other end of the spectrum, someone who makes $80,000 and is planning to retire in 30 years may need nearly $3 million. That's a pretty big nest egg. Keep in mind that this table is for illustrative purposes only and assumes many factors that can't be guaranteed. These include a 3% annual rise in salary before retirement, a 3% annual inflation rate both before and during retirement, and we also put in a 4% annual rate of return on earned savings during retirement. Inflation, salary increases, rates of return, all these things will change from year to year. The main reason we're looking at this table is to get an idea of the true cost of retirement and to shine a spotlight on the importance of planning and contributing now. So what about Social Security? Can't you just assume your Social Security benefits will be enough? Though Social Security is an important source of retirement income for many people, it was never intended to be the main source of retirement income. And due to increasing strain that's been put on the system, that's going to occur in future years due to rising number of retirees, some changes may be inevitable. So it's probably best to view Social Security with a bit of caution. Think of your Social Security payment safety net and assume that they'll provide a source of income, but not your main source of income. Now that you understand why it's so important to plan ahead for retirement, let's examine why it's also important to start contributing now rather than putting it off until later. The chart that you're looking at shows the benefits of compounding. Basically, when you contribute to your retirement savings account, the intention is that your contribution dollars will earn returns. Then those returns could potentially earn returns themselves and so on. The more you contribute to your plan, the more you may earn, and the more those earnings can work for you by earning additional returns. Of course, keep in mind that your investments may earn very little or even nothing at all. It's possible that you could lose your contribution dollars. But assuming you do earn money and those earnings earn returns themselves, over time the process can be very much a snowball. That's compounding. That's what we call compounding. And the longer your time horizon, the more powerful the effects of compounding can potentially be. So this hypothetical example shows the results of investing $120 in a retirement savings plan every other week. It assumes a 7% annual rate of return, which of course cannot be guaranteed. Let's take a close look at the results. After 10 years, you would have invested a total of $31,200 and have earnings of $13,900 for a total of $45,100. So that's pretty good. After 20 years, you would have invested $62,400 and had earnings of $73,435 for a total of $135,835. It's even better. And after 30 years, you would have invested $93,600 and had earnings of $224,781 for a total of more than $300,000. That's compounding at work. The sooner you start saving, the less you may have to set aside to adequately pursue your goals. Now, there's always going to be competition for your hard-earned dollars. Mortgage, rent, car payments, college payments, tablets, mobile phones, other gadgets. Kids that want their own tablets, mobile phones, and other gadgets. So when you look at the examples in this chart, you can see how delays in saving for retirement can be very costly. Even if it's just a small amount every pay period, start contributing today. Small amounts can add up over time through the power of compounding. Okay, so we're ready for our next poll question. Poll question number 3, are you currently enrolled in your employer-sponsored retirement plan? And then there's also another poll question, are you currently saving for retirement outside your employer-sponsored retirement plan? So we'll give everybody a few minutes just to mark those down and see what we come up with. And when we're talking about saving for retirement outside of your employer-sponsored plan, we're very often talking about maybe an IRA, a Roth IRA, or it could just be savings that you're putting into some mutual fund account or stock funds or anything like that. Okay, so we have the results. Very good. Wow. So just about everybody that's on this call is enrolled in the employer-sponsored retirement plan. That is outstanding. And if you're one of the people that said that you're not sure, it's an excellent opportunity for you to find out or for you to get started. You know, either speak with your employer-sponsored plan or your HR benefits department. Then the other question was, are you currently saving for retirement outside of your employer-sponsored retirement plan? And once again, that is split down the middle. About half of you said yes, half of you said no. So it may or may not be necessary for you to save for retirement outside of your employer-sponsored retirement plan. The plan limits that you have allow you to put away anywhere from $19,000, or if you're over age 50, it could be as much as $25,000 per year. So that might be more than you're even able to put away. So putting the money just in the employer-sponsored plan may be sufficient. But if you have extra money that you want to put away, or perhaps you want to invest it in a somewhat different way, which we'll talk about later, then you have the opportunity to invest into other investments outside of your employer-sponsored retirement plan. But I'm glad to see everybody, just about everybody, is in their employer plan. Now it's a question of taking advantage of it. So hopefully by now you recognize how important it is to chart your course to retirement and contribute to your plan today rather than put it off. There are 3 key reasons why your employer-sponsored retirement plan can be an important tool for saving for the future. There's the convenience, the tax advantages, and investment choice. So let's take a look at each one of these in more detail. One of the main benefits of participating in your retirement savings plan, as I said, is that it puts your retirement savings plan on autopilot. After you make the decision to enroll and decide how much to contribute, those contributions are deducted automatically from your paycheck each pay period and invested in your plan account. The process is called payroll deductions, and it helps you make yourself and your future a priority. That's because what you don't receive in your pocket each pay period, you can't spend. Your employer might also contribute to your account through a matching contribution program, or in some cases a profit-sharing contribution, which is how your employer can help you pursue your savings goals. And we'll provide a little more detail on this contribution in a moment. Some plans also allow employers to make contributions to the plan on your behalf. Matching contributions are guaranteed return on your contribution dollars. So don't pass up this free money. Try to contribute at least enough to get the full match. So think about it this way. You give yourself money. You take your money and you put it into this plan. And as a reward for giving yourself money, your employer gives you more money. I mean, how can you pass something like that up? So be sure to contact your employer or contact us at the phone number on the screen or at the email address on the screen for more information about any matching program that your employer may provide, or you can work with them directly, but we're happy to guide you in that as well. The second reason that we made mention of for using your employer's retirement savings plan to save for your future is that it offers tax benefits. Depending on the type of plan you have, you can benefit from tax advantages now or in the future, or in some cases, both. With traditional pre-tax retirement savings plans, your contributions are taken out of your pay before taxes are assessed. That means the amount you pay that is subject to income tax is lower, which means your overall annual tax payment is lower. The table shown on the screen illustrates how current contributions to your employer-sponsored retirement plan help lower your current tax bill. So in the example, employee 1 makes $2,000 each pay period and does not contribute to his plan. If we assume a flat 22% tax rate, which is hypothetical, it's for illustrative purposes only, the amount of taxes he would have to pay for that pay period would be $440. Employee number 2 makes the same amount of money, but has chosen to contribute 6% of her salary, or $120 each pay period, to her retirement savings plan. Because her taxable pay is reduced by this $120, the amount of taxes she has to pay is just $414 as opposed to the $440 based on that same 22% tax rate. So although she's contributing $120 to her plan account, it only feels like $94 out of her pocket because of that $26 savings on the taxes. And more of her money is going to work for her instead of Uncle Sam. You'll have to pay taxes on those contribution dollars eventually, of course, but that will likely be when you're in retirement, when you may be in a lower tax bracket. Note that you're required to begin taking distributions from your retirement savings plan in the year you reach age 70 and a half, or the year you retire, whichever is later. So there's always more information that we can provide to you about all of that. Your plan may also offer a Roth option. With these types of accounts, your contributions are made in after-tax dollars, so there is no immediate tax benefit like we saw on the last slide. However, the main benefit of a Roth account is that qualified withdrawals are tax-free. In order for a withdrawal to be qualified, 2 requirements have to be met. The account must have been held for at least 5 years, and the withdrawals are made after you reach age 59 and a half, or become disabled, or you pass away. So Roths have different provisions. They work a little bit differently, but they're very, very beneficial in many cases because you'll never have to pay taxes on that money once you make the contribution. Probably the biggest potential tax benefit of your retirement savings plan is that your account can earn returns each year without having to be subject to taxes. That means more of your money can potentially go to work for you annually than would be possible in a taxable investment account. You're also not subject to the same annual tax filing requirements as you would be in a taxable investment account. Withdrawals from pre-tax retirement savings accounts will be taxed at then current rates. So that means, again, in retirement, you only have to pay taxes on your withdrawals from your pre-tax account, but consider that in retirement, you may be in a lower tax bracket. So that's why it's still beneficial to defer the taxes. So qualified withdrawals from Roth accounts, once again, will be tax-free. The taxable portion of early withdrawals from all types of retirement savings accounts, Roth or traditional, will be subject to both regular income taxes and a potential 10% penalty tax. That means if you take withdrawals from your retirement account before you reach age 59 and a half, and there are certain cases where it's 50 or 55 or 52, you'll have to pay regular income taxes plus an additional 10% on the portion of the withdrawal that represents pre-tax contribution dollars and earnings. In short, it's very beneficial. It makes the most sense for you to not take money from your account. Sorry, the screen jumped back a little bit, but there wasn't too much detail on it. There we go. Finally, there's reason number 3, using your employer's retirement savings plan. Your plan offers a variety of different types of investments to choose from. The options range from lower to higher risk. Once you review how to choose investments from your plan account, then you may feel comfortable choosing a mix of investments that's right for you. So again, when you invest in your plan, you'll have the option to choose among many different investments. Now we're going to take a look at the types of investments you may have and how to choose among them. So I noted earlier the investments in your plan range from not so risky to really risky. Typically, the greater an investment's potential for return, the riskier it tends to be, and vice versa. If you want to strive for higher possible returns in your plan, you'll need to understand that with the potential for higher returns comes a greater chance of losing money. That's why it's important to follow the old cliche of not putting all of your eggs in one basket. Putting together a mix of different types of investments is an investment strategy called diversification. Although there's no guarantee that you won't lose your contribution dollars, diversification can help you manage risk in your plan by spreading your money around. While some investments may be losing money, others may be rising or holding steady. So that can potentially help you minimize your losses, although no investment strategy can fully protect against losses. The investments in your plan will generally fit into one of three categories called asset classes. There's stocks, which is the first asset class. That represents ownership in a company. When you own a stock in a company, you actually own a tiny piece of that company. Stocks are typically the most risky type of investment offered in retirement savings plans and therefore tend to offer the potential for the highest returns over time, though past performance can't guarantee results in the future. Then there's bonds. Bonds represent loans that you make to a government entity or to a company. You're the lender and the organization is the borrower. In return for the loan, the borrower promises to pay you an interest rate, a stated interest rate at regular intervals. However, there's no guarantee that the borrower will be able to keep its end of the bargain. And if you need or want to sell the bond before its maturity date, there's no guarantee that you'll get back the full amount that you put into it. So although there's many different kinds of bonds, some of which can be very risky, bonds typically fall somewhere in the middle of the risk-return spectrum. Now you have cash investments, also known as capital preservation investments. They're designed to protect your money. Although they tend to be the safest type of investments offered in the plan, if you invest too much in them, you lose the potential for higher growth and run the risk that your account won't stay ahead of the rising cost of living and adequately pursue your savings goal. So again, risk versus reward. Most of retirement plans offer access to these three asset classes through investments known as mutual funds. These investments pool the money of many different investors to buy a portfolio of individual stocks, bonds, and cash investments. When you own shares in that mutual fund, you actually own a tiny piece of all the securities held within the fund. Now, because most mutual funds hold many different investments, although there are exceptions, they automatically follow a principle of diversification. Although diversification helps to manage risk, it can't guarantee a profit or protect against the loss during market turndowns. In addition, before you invest in a mutual fund, you should be sure to review its prospectus. A prospectus, which is kind of like the mutual fund's guidebook, contains more information about objectives, risks, fees, and expenses, and should be read carefully before investing. If you don't receive a prospectus automatically from your plan, you should be sure to request it. Also, mutual funds choose their investments or holdings based on their stated objective, which is a brief summary of what the fund strives to achieve for its investors. So let's take a quick look at some common fund objectives. So here are some examples. Growth funds usually invest in stocks and are typically appropriate for investors seeking the potential for long-term growth of their investment dollars. These funds tend to offer higher returns over time, but come with a greater degree of risk, as we talked about before. The value of your investment is likely to go up and down more than with other asset classes. They may be simple growth funds or aggressive growth funds, which are among the riskiest, for lack of a better term, of all investments. Income funds strive to provide regular income, which can provide a balance, which can help balance out value swings and in other parts of your portfolio. However, the value of a bond investment can fluctuate, and there's no guarantee it will be worth what you paid for it when you sell it. There are also funds called growth and income funds and balance funds, which are not pictured here on the slide. These funds typically strive for income while also providing a bit of growth. They also fall in the middle of the risk-return spectrum. Cash or capital preservation funds strive to protect your investment dollars. So they are generally the most conservative, I'd say, of all the investments offered in the plan, and maybe the most appropriate for those nearing or in retirement, or those looking for a place to park their investment dollars while they consider other potential investments. Among these types of funds are money market funds. Money market funds strive for protection of principal, but there is no guarantee that they can maintain a stable $1 share price. They have an extraordinary track record, but there's no guarantees. So just remember that an investment in this fund or any of these other funds is not insured or guaranteed by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, FDIC, or any other government agency. It's possible to lose money by investing even in a money market fund. Now, your plan may also offer one-stop shop funds, also known as target date funds, or sometimes they call them life stage or lifestyle funds. With those funds, you simply elect to invest all of your money into one fund based on your anticipated retirement year, for example. As a basic rule of thumb, choose a mix of the different types of fund based on your own unique circumstances. In the next section, we'll look at how to make this important decision. The process of choosing investments for your retirement portfolio and determining how much of your contribution dollars to invest in each one is called asset allocation. Specifically, asset allocation is the percentage of your assets invested into each class. A few examples of a hypothetical asset allocation would be, as shown on there, maybe 75% stocks, 15% bonds or income, 10% cash. Or it could be 50% stocks, 30% bonds, 20% cash, or for a more conservative investor, perhaps 35% stocks, 50% bonds, and 15% cash. So that's the asset allocation. The three factors that will help you determine your asset allocation are your savings goals, how much you are trying to accumulate through your savings plan account, your time horizon, or how long it will be until you need to tap into your savings plan account, and your risk tolerance, or how well you can withstand the changes in the value of your savings plan account. All these are very important. Really, how much you can stomach is what it generally comes down to. Generally speaking, the higher the goal, and or maybe the higher the longer the long-term time horizon is, the greater the allocation to riskier investments like stocks should be. The lower the goals and the shorter the time horizon, the greater the allocation to bonds and capital preservation funds would typically be. Keep in mind that no investment strategy can fully protect you from losing money. Well, I'll tell you, we've reviewed a lot of information today. First, we talked about the different, there we go. Sorry. Forgive me one moment. There we go. We're back. First, we talked about the different phases of retirement, how retirement lasts longer than ever before, and also how it will take a sizable nest egg to afford to live comfortably in retirement. Then we talked about viewing Social Security as a safety net rather than a primary source of income. That's really important. Next, we considered the potential benefits of starting to save now versus versus waiting until there's more money in your budget. It's especially important to remember the benefits of compounding and how time can be one of your strongest allies when saving for retirement. Then we talked about why your retirement savings plan may be an ideal way to plan for your future, because it offers three main benefits of convenience. There's tax advantages and investment choice. And then finally, we examined the different types of investments in your plan and the three key factors that go into asset allocation process. Does anybody remember them? They were savings goal. Go back. Savings goals, time horizon, and risk tolerance. We don't show them on the screen. Savings goals, time horizon, and risk tolerance. So I know it's a lot of information for a brief presentation. So let's be sure, first of all, if you haven't enrolled, or if you're not sure, or if maybe you've enrolled but you haven't gotten started, make that next move. Commit to taking the first steps towards retirement. Make sure you're enrolled in the plan and that you're actually participating in the plan. Let's do our final poll question. When you leave today, what steps will you take to make sure you're on track to meet your retirement goals? You can answer enroll in my employer-sponsored retirement plan, which most of you have done already, or you set up an appointment with the Participant Effect advisor to discuss my financial situation. If you don't already have a financial advisor, it's a very good idea. You can review your current investments, calculate how much you'll need for retirement, or you say, you know what, I'm good. I've got all of these things covered. So I'll give everybody a second, and then Kelly will display the results. Very good. So here's what we have. Setting up an appointment with Participant Effect advisor was about a quarter of you, so that's very good. Reviewing my current investments was actually the biggest choice that was made, and that's an excellent idea. Based on the fact that we talked about risk tolerance, we talked about asset allocation, that's a very important thing. You may be too conservative or too aggressive in your portfolio, and you can make that determination on your own, or you can get a financial advisor to help you. Many of you also answered, calculate how much I will need for retirement. So many of you will have tools online on your portal through your employer-sponsored plan to help you determine this. There's also online calculators, or once again, speak with your financial advisor or a Participant Effect advisor. And then several of you even said, hey, I'm on track. But most people chose the former two, which was review my current investment and calculate how much I will need for retirement. So that's good. You're saying, hey, I'm going to take action here. Thank you, Kelly. There we go. Well, thank you, everyone. So if you have questions, any questions about Participant Effect, the phone number is on the screen, so you can always call for more information. Just remember that small steps can enhance your financial life one day at a time, and questions to us are always welcome. So with that said, just let me know, Kelly, were there any questions, or does anybody have any questions that they want to share with the group?
Hi, Jeff. Thank you for that. Yeah, I do have a couple questions that were asked in the question and answer section. One attendee has asked how pensions work from employers.
So if you're talking specifically pension, let's say your employer provides a pension, very often you'll have at least two choices about how you take that pension. This is assuming I understand the question. So the traditional pension is that you will receive monthly payments for the rest of your life. And those can also be structured so that if you pass away, your spouse gets all of it or some of it or something like that. That's what a pension has typically been. Many employers are moving away from pensions or offer another form of pension where you can actually receive a lump sum payout. So you want to check with your employer on that to see what's available. So you can actually, in many cases, instead of getting a monthly payment for life, you can actually get a nest egg. You get, instead of saying, okay, I'm going to get $1,000 a month for the rest of my life, I'm going to get instead $280,000 in a one-time payout. Now, one of the big benefits, potential benefits of this is you can invest it any way that you want to, and you may actually wind up getting more money from having that lump sum payout than you would by getting the $1,000 a month. Or another possibility, another very big benefit, potential benefit, is that you have that money to pass on to your family if and when you pass away. I should say when you pass away. So by taking just the pension, that's going to disappear, and any money that would have been paid out goes back to your employer. But with a lump sum, there may be very big advantages because that's money that you can keep for generations or spend in your final years. So it's just so that's how pensions typically work, but every pension is different. You definitely want to speak with your benefits people at your employer. I hope that answered the question.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. There's two more questions that I have here. One attendee would like you to elaborate on the 5-year rule of a Roth IRA, and that one is allowed to withdraw the contribution amount.
Yes, so it's an interesting rule. Once you set up a Roth IRA, okay, and this technically pertains to Roth 401k too, but let's just talk about the Roth IRA. You actually have to wait 5 years, meaning that it doesn't matter if you keep contributing over the course of that 5 years, doesn't matter what you put in. From the date that Roth IRA is established, in order to get that benefit of having tax-free withdrawals, you have to have kept that Roth IRA for 5 years. So if you only opened it up 3 years ago and then you say, now I can take out money tax-free, no, you cannot, unfortunately. You have to have had a Roth IRA maintained and open and available to you for a 5-year time frame. So again, there's more information online about this. Just look up the 5-year rule for Roth IRAs, but that's how it works. So it's the only little caveat to making sure that your after-tax contribution stays tax-free when you withdraw it. Was that the full question, Kelly?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
So I do have one more question here. What is the combined amount you can contribute to a 401k plus an outside IRA, and do employer contributions count to reach the maximum amount?
Okay, so if you're under age 50, right now for 2019, you can contribute $19,000 per year. Okay, so that's through your employer plan. I should be clear about that. Forget the IRA. This is through your employer plan, $19,000. If you're age 50 and older, it's actually higher. It's $25,000 per year that you can contribute. So the question then is, can you also contribute to an IRA outside of your employer-sponsored plan? And the answer is yes, but with an asterisk, meaning that if you may not be qualified, if you make too much money, very often if it's a married couple, you make over $200,000, then you may not be able to make an additional IRA contribution, Roth or otherwise. So you have to look, we have to dig a little bit deeper into your circumstances, but if you can, then the contribution limits are $6,000 for under 50, and 50 and older is $7,000 for 2019. So you can actually, so if you add up the $19,000 plus $6,000, that's $25,000 right there. Or if you're adding the $25,000 plus the $7,000, that's $32,000. And then there are some other rules where it might actually, believe it or not, allow you to put more money in, but we won't get into that too deeply. Was there an additional question on that one, Kelly? What was the full?
No,
you can
it was if employer
okay.
contributions count to reach the maximum amount.
Oh, yes, thank you. The answer is no. Employer contributions do not count towards your $19,000 or $25,000 limits. That's just what you can put in a year. Any other questions?
That was all the questions that came through. Thank you so much, Jeff, for your time. We really appreciate it. That was wonderful, the presentation. If anybody else has any questions that they think of later, by all means, please reach out to us. We're happy to get those questions answered for you. Please be on the lookout for a thank you email being sent out. It'll have our next webinar, which is going to be held in December there, so you can see if you'd like to attend that as well. So I hope everybody has a wonderful day, and thank you for attending today.
Thanks, everybody.